Alright, and I should be live now. Yes, yes. This, if you guys can't tell by the title, is the first episode of me doing a bunch of analysis of lower level games, and the volume is audible. Cool, I just had to check real quick. Alright, but before I get into the first game from Kraken, was playing with the white pieces, um, I will just give you a brief overview of what I use to do my analysis. Um, when necessary, if I want to start an engine, I can click here, start an engine, double check. Just make sure I'm not missing anything if a position's super complicated or I am not sure about what's going on. Um, yeah, as you can see, or actually you can't see, it actually cuts off the top part. I am using Scid verse PC, SCID verse PC. Uh, Great software for just taking chess statistics, analysis, and stuff. Another great thing about Scid is that you can do this. This is a tree, opening database, um, comprised exclusively of games that I put in there. It's gotten pretty big at this point. It's a million games, almost 2 million games at this point in my database. But the nice thing is that when you make your own database, you can weed out games you don't want. Um, Today, since we're looking at lower level players, I'm not going to filter anything. Usually if I'm analyzing a Grandmaster game or a, a game of whatever level, I will go in to search and I will go to general filter and you can set the rating scales. 0 to 4,000 is fine for a low level game. We'll just get all of our games. Um, Usually you like to keep the lowest rated players about the rating of the player of the game you're analyzing, because then you're going to get at least information on openings around that level. You also still want the high level stuff just so you can see which ones are actually good going forward. So as you improve, you will know these are lines that are getting better and better, and these are lines that are getting worse and worse as less and less as the number of games getting looked at gets lower. So as the average rating of the players in your table base gets higher, the games will get more accurate. But at a lower level, that exact precision isn't super necessary. You more want to focus on those ideas and themes. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to double check that I know what colors everything are, because if you look here, it stripped out all of the information other than his comments. It surprisingly left all of his comments in, which I like. That's very good. Um, I gotta try not to use so much. That's alright, I'm tired. You guys are gonna have to bear with me. I haven't slept in a while, and I just had a 5-hour exam before I came in, wrote a test article, and now I'm doing this. And yes, Kraken was white, and his opponent, intervensi, was black. Um, the ratings in this game were pretty disparate. The Kraken, 1260. Intervensi, 1522. I'm going to apologize now before we go into this game if I say anything dumb. A, I'm really tired, and B, I only got a brief chance to glance at the game before deciding to analyze it. I just saw that he had done good commentary, reading a few of his comments, and he'd taken time to analyze the game, and that made me want to help him out and analyze it a little farther. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be doing that for a lot of games in the future. So you can see these comments here. Um, Whenever I add a comment, let's say on the first move, I'm going to say I too like queen's pawn openings. And it will add it. So my comment will add. Um, this is the doc I'm using for adding comments. It's very convenient. I will For today, I will put a... I don't know how I want to do this. Let's hit enter and then tilde it. Will that work? I haven't tried to commentate on a game that's already been commentated, or annotated. I don't know why I said commentated. Alright, yeah, so I'm gonna, whenever I add a comment, I am going to put a tilde and hit enter, so it's on a new line, and put a tilde in front of it. That should make it apparent that it's mine. As I go through the game, I'm gonna read Kraken's comments, comment on his comments, and then see if I have anything to add, see if there's anything I think he missed. To start out, first few moves we can go pretty quickly. They're opening book. Don't have to worry about them too much. So let's get our tree base up. We're going to look at that. We don't need to see the moves being made because I can still make comments. So here, already we have a comment from Kraken saying that he's not too familiar with openings and he doesn't see why this move is good because it blocks in his knight on f6. It's a very astute observation. It's not good. It's just not. This is not an opening you want to play. If you look at the percentages up here, you'll see that it's only been played 12 times in my 1,800,000 game database. It's only been played 12 times. It's a bad way to start off your game, and especially when you look at the moves. The best scoring one for black is if white plays c4 next. Either e4, which scores 70%, 75% historically, or knight f3, which has scored 60% historically. Not so hot of a move for black. So very astute observation. In fact, let's go look real quick. We're already out of table. We can go current board, back position, and then I'm going to go filter setting, restrict filter. Alright, and I'm going to search in this database, search, and it should have given me a list of PG. No, I want it back. List of PGNs, and it did not work for some reason because it didn't apply the filter. Apply filter, there we go. So these were played by relatively all-right people, 22, 2100s. They're not great, they're not bad. These definitely had to have been blitz events. If I look at these, yeah, these are mostly blitz events and simuls, so they were likely just trying to throw their opponent out of book, get a slight advantage that way. So let's go back to the board. Shows PGN is still there. It's not. Alright, so file. Where did that game go? Weird. I guess I've not really analyzed the game without adding it to my table base first. And no offense, Kraken. Not a game I'm gonna put into my database for analyzing games. If it turns out to be a good game, I will add it. Very well could go in there, but wasn't gonna add it without having viewed it first. I don't even do that for my own games. Basically, if it's played by anybody below 2300 on both sides of the board, it doesn't go into my table base unless I've analyzed it. Unless it came in like a large pack with other stuff and I didn't have time to go through all of them. Like event packs, like from tournaments I've watched and things. But I digress. I need to get in again. I need to be not in Firefox. I need to go copy this, close, and just it gives me a good time to show you guys how to put the games in. PGN, and import, and bam, now we have the PGN. And we start at the bottom, and now we can go, and we're right back where we started. So, not too You said you're not too familiar with this move. You played knight f3, which second most common move in the position and one of the best scoring, and the second best scoring. Here, black plays c5, and yeah, we're completely out of table base. So if we look at c5, we can see that. And so I have to do that. Forgot I got to do that on this board. He's going to. I've got to get better at figuring. Ah, all right, sorry guys. Like I said, a lot of time wasted today. I have been up for something like 30 hours, and I just spent a whole bunch of time fighting this tutorial. So he is attacking our uh, d4 pawn. Um, really here, I think you can just play here, and maybe he would be having the idea of, I'm not sure, this, trying to get this back. Then bishop e3, knight a6, a3, knight takes c5, bishop b4, knight e4, e4, and white's just got a massive, massive space advantage. You did give up that center pawn that you wanted to keep, but maybe, maybe that works. You commented that you wanted to protect. You might have had a better move. You said maybe c takes d4. Then okay, you're talking about later. It looks like. Um, then c takes d4. Oh, you're saying if he captures, you can capture back with your knight. Okay. Yeah, that's just commenting on a future move. I'm not sure. So he does capture back. I think better would have been here. Um, maybe. I'm not positive. Um, another good, maybe another try for him could have been this. I'm not looking too closely at it. Just because he already pushed this, that's the point of, if you're going to push f6, it's obviously to support e5. But the problem with this here is obviously that it loses pawn, so it's premature. So I think either d5 or, as he played, c takes d4 is correct. Back to book. He played c takes d4. Um, c takes d4. Yeah, that's definitely best. Your knight's good here. Up here, it's not really going to be able to do anything. He doesn't have anything for you to attack yet. You don't know where to best to play your knight yet. So it's better to wait and see where your pieces are going to want to be deployed before deploying them. So, also you comment that you like pawns on d4. That's good. Pawns on d4 are very good. You just have to make sure you get good at those isolated queens pawns games, because those can happen a lot. In a position like this, for example, maybe if he plays... let's see. How can I make this an isolated queen's pawn in this position? No, that won't work. Yeah, I don't know how to get an isolated queen's pawn in this game. But the point is, you should always be aware that they can happen. So if you like pawns on d4, really should make sure you know how to play those sorts of games. So here he is going to play knight c6. I think just d5 was better. Um, I'm going to delete this d6 variation because it was obviously bad. So after d5, you would just develop normally, obviously, and then knight c6. After knight c6, bishop b5, bishop d2, knight and you're just better developed. If you want to see that, I can just show you that real quick. It's going to be... Now this pawn is under attack, so he's going to have to push e6. Now he has the idea of bringing the bishop here for the pin. You don't really need to worry about it too much. You can just go ahead and castle. If he tries to bring it all the way down here, just... He does that. Can't push here because if he just takes here, then takes. And then I don't see anything clear from there. So, yeah, that was a variation you could have looked at. Now he plays you play e4. Okay, keeping control of the center. That's a very good opening principle. It's very classical. Classical play is generally good. It's been around forever. If you can control the center, you have a very good game. Your pieces are going to have more space. You have more activity. A move like f6 if it wasn't just bad, so maybe something like d6, is usually attempting to grab those center pawns and after the changes keep pawns on the center. So something to keep in mind. That may have been his goal. Obviously, it's not working out so well so far, but he is going to play e5 here. You play bishop e3. Because you are answering the threat, so you are responding to the threat of here. Make that do that automatically. So you're responding to this threat here. After which, then so this is the threat you're responding to. But the thing is, you're missing the fact that you have this defending. So here you have a queen defending. I did not mean to draw those stars, those crosses, but whatever. They work well enough. So the threat you're responding to is likely... So I don't know if there's a way to make a null move. That's something that I wish that I'm sure there's a way to do it in here, but I am not actually sure how to do it. A lot of chess software will allow you to insert a null move, as in your opponent passes, like, so black can make 2 moves in a row, just so you can see what would happen. I wanted to demonstrate that, but it looks like I can't do that. But basically, he takes, with that, you just take with knight. If he takes back, you just take with queen. So you're fine. But playing safe is alright too. Realistically, if you were worried about the threat, I think this may have been the best bet. Because now best is knight b8. Because if knight here his bishop is locked in, and it's never going to get good because these squares are bad. So now you can just do whatever you want for the rest of the game, and you'll win. You could take a year and a half to attack and develop, and he doesn't really have anywhere he can develop. All you have to do is stop this bishop from getting out, which is pretty easy. So that would just force knight b8, because if he plays here, knight takes, pawn takes, you just cleaned up another pawn. So now you have a strong center, an extra pawn, and are better developed. So I think here maybe his best try would be queen a5. Then maybe queen d2. Or maybe. Um, but this gives black a little counterplay. Maybe instead of queen, you can play bishop if he plays this. Then he plays bishop c5, threatening to win a pawn here, or attacking a pawn here. But you can just pawn takes, c5. And you clearly have a better game here, especially after b4. So, good idea to answer the threat that you saw, but keep in mind, there are other ways to deal with threats, such as moving the piece that you feel is threatened, or creating a greater threat, which e5 does both. It both threatens the knight, takes away this square. If he comes here, I don't see that being good. I feel like if I just play this, he loses it, like the knight. I feel like that knight's going to get trapped. I'm not going to look at it, though, because I've spent a while on this game already. Weird, I don't even have chess.com open, do I? Yeah, I only have, I'm not quite sure. Somebody said there's an audio issue. If that is the case, please make another comment in the chat and I will do what I can to figure it out. But as I said, bishop e3, it's good that you had something that you had a plan, you had something you were responding to. That's very, very important in learning to analyze games. What are the threats your opponent is making is one of the 6 key questions I ask every time I analyze a position. Now here he plays bishop b4, check. Um, Again, I think the position really wants d5 to be played. It's a bad position to begin with, but d5 is going to open up the game. White's king is still in the center. So despite the fact black's king is still in the center, black is behind. So creating these complications will help black out. So say after e takes, queen takes, knight c3, bishop b4, bishop b2, bishop takes c3, this. It was just quick. I'm sure I missed stuff. Created complications. Black looks much more healthy here. Sure. Knight takes, and you're just in a pawn up endgame, or you're just in an even endgame. So I obviously made a mistake there. But yeah, d5 creates complications. I think that's the best try for black, opening up the center while the kings are both still in the center. Because the king in the center is a good target to attack, especially if you can tear open that center with moves like d5 early in the game. Also, this does allow you to play lines that isolate the queen's pawn, such as and I found the move that makes this not bad. Just gets rid of our isolated queen's pawn. So yeah, this line seems still winning for white. The bishop pair is very strong, and there's a lot of open space for them to maneuver around in. So yeah, like I said, d5 definitely seems to be the best bet here for black. I wish we're so early in the game. I wish we had a tail base that I could double check with the stuff with, but really I'm just going with field. There haven't been any apparent blunders, like nothing. There've been no tactics. There's like no reason for me to get up stockfish and check a number. I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't do that to begin with. I actually cover that in my first introduction to how to analyze your own games on chess.com that I will be posting with this video when I post it to YouTube. So bishop e4 just doesn't seem to have much of a point. I cannot see black's move. It's not a scroll bar. I want a scroll bar. There. I have to like scroll with my scroll wheel. Um, so knight c3. Not worried about a trade. Very, very good um, thought. The bishop pair is very strong, and the dark squared bishop is really black's only good piece right now. The knight isn't doing too much. I mean, yeah, it's contesting the center a little bit. It's protecting up here. But realistically, after you can just push e5 at any time, and the knight's bad again. Or d5 at any time, and the knight's bad again. So, knight c3, not too worried about the trade. You want to, that which opens up lines on d5. And then bishop c5 at the moment, you're trying to attack f7 square. That is a very, very good target. That's a bad color. I'm going to change that. There's no way the stream viewers can see that. There we go. So this is the square he's targeting right now. Very good idea. He's very weak on the light squares. His king's still stuck in the center, so if you can take control of this diagonal, he won't be able to castle very easily without making concessions. So yeah, let's look at what happens if he takes. Since you were saying that you can take open the d file. So he takes, add variation, takes, and you were saying 5, takes d5, 5, d3. So not quite what you were saying, but we are still just trying to attack this key f7 square. I don't think white has anything other than black can do anything other than take. Sorry, I can't talk right now. So let's see, is there anything black can do other than take? He has to, if he tries this, not that, that's bad. If he tries this, just, and you win handedly after 7, bishop takes, and you're just up a piece. Bishop takes d7, bishop takes d7. My brain was off there. Yeah, he'd play here. So this will be the position, and you've won the game. It's actually over. So yeah, if he tries to go there, he goes here, same issue. So yeah, that weakness on the f7 square is pretty acute. So in this position, what if he goes this? That's bad, because blocking in the bishop and takes, f takes, 1, 7, 4, 6, 5, and you just have an overwhelming attack. I'm sure there are inaccuracies in there. I just played it really quickly. It's just thematic stuff. So in this line, I guess he has to play this. I don't know what he does though. Yeah, this is still just winning. 8, 5, 1 again. So, and then queen c7. I immediately good enough. We're gonna play. We want to get. We want to be able to secure this square now somehow. Because if we can secure this square for a rook, it's mate. So yeah, we have a lot of attacking chances. There's something very clear here. It's got to be this. Let's kick away the queen. Check. Back. Check. back. Or playing the inevitable, that doesn't work. 28. Back there again. Knight f7 this time. Threatening the rook. Bishop d7. 6. This knight really wants to be here, but there's no way for it to be there. This is just an overwhelming position again. So yeah, attacking on the goal of attacking on the f7 square is very sound. If you take, so your idea is very sound. I'm not sure I followed your exact plan of attack, but you did have the idea of sending the queen to the wrong side. From this side, there are pawns that can block. So let's look at this position again, real quick, just one more time. I know I'm taking a long time on on every move, but it's only got comments up to move 32. I'm sure the game's been pretty decisive before then. So on the opening, I really like to spend a lot of time, especially with newer players, because that's where the meat of the game is. It's really where you can see all the different things that can happen. Like, you can run into every kind of combination in the opening. So again. So we're looking to try and play Queen H5 this time, just to demonstrate that it's not quite as good as I said. Actually, I don't even see a way you can get the queen over there. I can't make it work. Maybe it doesn't work. There's no way this works. But like this is the only way I can see to realistically get this over there, but it fails because of this push. If this pawn wasn't here, this would be really good. Like if there wasn't a pawn here. So if we imagine there's no pawn here, we can take here. He goes here. If he goes here, or if he goes here, I mean, come here with check. Or no, it's bishop here, check, knight takes. Yeah, I can't see a way to make it work, even if that pawn's gone. Just this is a very secure side of the board. This is where his strength is. His weaknesses are on the queen side, so that's the side you want to be playing on. Just to comment briefly on your comment about queen h5 from this position. But, alas, he did not take. He played knight g7, trying to prepare d5. Really, I played g5 already. I think d5 is just his best move here. Because it frees his queen, and now he has at least active pieces on somewhat, because he can develop this knight to here, castle. Nothing's too locked in. What did I do? That's really bad. Oh wait, no, I'm not. Sorry. I thought we were in a different line that this bishop wasn't here. So yeah, so we can just take here, utilizing this pin. Ugh, super tired, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna trim this down before I post it on YouTube. Cut out all the important stuff. So we see queen d5 here. We can just play bishop e2, breaking the pin, threatening the queen. This seems pretty resolved for black again. White's still slightly better because of the bishop pair and the better piece placement, but realistically it's a pretty tough endgame. So he did muff up this opening a little bit, but he did have chances to fix it. Like in the opening, small errors can be fixed very quickly. That's why you don't have to be perfect. So is that you wanted to open up these files, so you did it. Very good. And you're moving that past the f6 pawn that's defending on this side. So now you can play something like bishop here pinning. Or say it lets your knight move to open the queen's other diagonal. So you're saying you can use the knight to open here up? I'm not quite sure I follow, but um. Oh, I get what you're saying. You're saying you can move here, so you can move the queen up here. Um, that is a good point. You can do that. I still think the queen side is where he's more likely to be able to defend, um, even after these pawns are traded off. Um, it's a little ironic, actually. It's just because this knight can come here so quickly, and then this queen can come up here pretty, pretty, pretty swiftly, and he can castle pretty easily. Like if you played queen here check somehow, this knight can just block, and then he can castle, and he'll be relatively safe. If you play knight g5, you are still targeting the square, which is good. You kept with your plan. Um, Not much to say about that. It's a solid move. I'm not sure. What else? I think queen b3 is still a little better. So on queen b3, pawn takes 6, 1. Now we have very active pieces with queen. So this looks promising for white. A bit more promising, I should say. This looks actually it looks almost crushing after this. Queen, f7 check. 8. Now we have queen d5. So his king is stuck in the center. He can't castle. This looks crushing for white. Um, g5 looks a little less convincing because he can just play h6. After which your knight, since your plan is to open this diagonal, so you can't just put the knight back here. Otherwise, you just wasted a tempo. And what was the point? So you play this, making a threat. You play g6, queen h4, and this pawn is now pinned to the rook. a5, and bishop d2 because you need another piece supporting here. So once again, it's just giving black more counterplay. Um, Anything you can do to just stifle that counterplay. You've got a good plan going on. You're following through. You're looking at those threats. You're making threats, but you're not looking. You're missing that little extra something to look at what sort of counterplay black can find. I think if you add that extra step, you're gonna be doing a lot better in all of your games. I mean, not that you're doing bad. You win this game, but this only looks slightly better for white, um, and it's very, very difficult to win. Queen f3, threatening mate here. Very good. Tangible threats are always nice. What else was there that was good? Also good again, this bishop c4. I really think, I know I'm laying it on by keep pointing this move out. Bishop c4, very good, because if you let him castle, um, he's gonna have a very safe game from there. Materially, you're even. You're only slightly better on development, and your king is still in the center as well. So if he can castle, he's gonna have good chances. I think that's slightly better. Not to belabor a point or anything. Sorry. But queen f3 also good. It's just very easily met with this, I believe. Just reflex moves. Then I think rook wants to come to d1 again. Just after queen f6, I guess. Maybe. Does this still work? No. It's too late. Um, take, take. Got something there. So maybe. And he's got to try and develop his bishop now. This is the first time his bishop has even had a legal square to move to, uh, at the whole game. So that just shows you how behind in development he is. So now that our king is on this side of the board, I know our defense looks a little shambled, but our idea would be to walk up along this side with pawn storm, play the bishops along this diagonal and this diagonal, or maybe uh, up these. Yeah, you're just gonna wanna play along this long, try and open up this long, take this long diagonal somehow, and then use your strength on the dark squares to dominate his knights. Actually, just this whole game. But yeah, so instead he played knight f4. Um, I noticed you don't comment too much on your opponent's moves. It's understandable. It's really hard to comment on your opponent's moves sometimes, because you don't know what they're thinking. Like, it's hard to get into someone else's head. But it is really helpful, especially in postmortem, to help you see the threats he's making. So here, he is straight up blocking the threat of mate. So you play what I am 100% certain is the best move. Bishop takes. Now, if he just takes back immediately, you threaten it again and he can't castle. So he castles, which is a very good move because it pins the bishop to the rook. Or it looks like a good move, I should say. It's not actually a good move. Looking at it now. Said that and then immediately looked at it. So this looks clever by him. I mean, you think, hey, the queen is pinned. What's he gonna do? But after c4, you play. Wonderful. Shit. Oh, you missed the better move. This is good. This is very good. But it allows rook takes. This, I think, slightly more accurate was queen h5. And now, if anything other than queen takes g5, so let's say anything else. In mate. So if he does this, all right. So queen g6. Just double checking everything. Sorry. I was really confident in it a second ago, but now I'm not 100%. Okay, yeah. So takes here, back. He does anything other than queen takes g5 again. So say this one 'cause it's the prettiest mate. Mate. Or if he goes here, mate. So very good move on your part. Very good tactics. Never can fault you for taking the first win you find. Especially when you're not sure if it's in controls. Uh, But if you have the time, you should always, once you think you found the best move, spend a second, especially in this tactical positions, see if you can find something a little better. Um, I don't see any defense for this after queen h5. I mean, this mate is such an immediate threat, and his light squares are so weak. Like, he doesn't have any pieces that can cover the light squares. Literally zero of his active pieces on the board are capable of covering a light square, other than these two squares. Okay? I guess technically the pawn covers this square, and this pawn covers this square. But he has zero control of the light squares beyond his pawns. So threatening this light square mate seems very, very unstoppable, if anything other than queen takes g5. But you played this, also a great move, winning the exchange. Or not winning the exchange, you win, yeah, the exchange. What am I saying? What am I saying? I don't speak English. I'm sorry. So that's something probable. But instead, he plays Queen F6, a blunder. Um, you caught on to the fact that you played this and it was a blunder. Um, you left wrong color. This double attacked with only a single defender by castling queenside here. So we go back and look at the position. So let's see if we can find something better. You're up material. Just played Queen G6. Um, let's see what we know about the position. Um, if you could move your king, or if you could move your knight, you could fork this and this. Very good thing to note. Um, and he has no way to defend one with the other, because the only defending squares are covered also by the knight. Um, but your king is blocked, so maybe something like bishop here. But that doesn't seem best. Um, maybe the simplest and safest is just this. Um, that seems good enough. Not sure if this is any better. Right. And now is finally activating this. Yeah, I feel like the bishop was better here. Not exactly. Um, this c5. This is why. That's why. It just prevents this bishop c5 because then you can just take and take. And you've got a much better position. But now you can castle queenside like you were planning to, with a much superior position. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you're sacking this pawn, but I don't see that going well for him because he's down material already. So after we trade off these, when you're up material, especially a whole rook, just trade off pieces. You're up a rook. Rook up endgame is 1. So if you trade everything off equally, you're going to win. You should be able to win material. You're up a rook. So just something to keep in mind. But you played this blunder. Played queen takes f7. And now, once again, I think bishop d5 is best. Or e3 is best. Why did I say d5? I think bishop e3 is best. After queen takes, or maybe threatening mate. Well, not necessarily threatening mate, but this is going to be forced to come back. And there's almost certainly a mate to follow somewhere from there. How's that? So he freezes an escape square, so this back rank mate threat is no longer viable. So, here I guess we can, what am I doing? I guess we want to trade off can, which is unfavorable for him, so we'll probably just play queen here again, and now we can play knight d5, which is what we wanted to play. So this seems good for white again, but let's see. 6f7, you play d5. To protect the bishop, you say, good idea in theory. It also cuts the queen out of this square here, which is useful. Basically, there's very little he can do to attack on this side. But the problem with this is it doesn't actually defend the bishop because Fly. So when you do this, he can just go f takes one. Just a nice safety move. You want to get your king out of the way. There's no hurry on trying to get this pawn back if you're going to try to. Plays bishop d6, trying to hold on to this pawn. Then he can't take this pawn because of the queen pin. b6, activating his pieces. No, that's bad. That drops a piece. Yeah, this seems unclear. So if he had just taken, it seems like he has a healthy position, most likely winning for him. Not an easy win by any means, but a win that a decent player should be able to convert. And hopefully nobody's been saying anything in the chat because it disconnected for some reason on me. Let me make sure the stream is still up. It is indeed. All right. Or not. Or not. Is it still recording at least? Yes, it is. Awesome. So, I really hope I don't have to do this whole thing over. I'm gonna find out later. I'm gonna have to double check and make sure nothing is broken. Alright, so I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna break this into parts, I guess. Just because actually no, I'm gonna keep powering through, and if it didn't work, I'm going to redo the analysis all over. Got the annotations in here. So instead of that, he plays bishop d6, and you acknowledge that there's another attacker on here because you add a defender. Problem is, again, a pawn is worth less than a bishop, so when you take back, you're taking back less valuable material. So again, when he takes this, he now has a favorable position. You make what I think is the correct choice. Take here, get these strong pawns. These both have the potential to become passed. And you can utilize, usually double pawns are a bad thing, but you can utilize them in this case to, how do I say it, like, just sort of as an extra support, like an extra battering ram to try and create a passed pawn on this file. Also, you've opened this file for your rook. So he plays knight e5. Interesting move. Seems overly flashy. Just seems like he's trying to do things to look impressive that don't actually accomplish anything, because this knight here doesn't really do anything. We need to relocate our queen at some point anyway. It's not very active where it is. So him doing this just forces us to relocate our queen earlier. Maybe better getting this bishop involved. Maybe even b4. Come to here. Just a suggestion. I'm not sure. But instead, but alas, he plays this fancy move. And you play g3, taking the open file. Let me see if there's anything better. I don't see anything. This is it. This is the new target square. This is where you want to be attacking. Right down this open file. So here plays this. I really don't know what the threat is at all. I'm not. I guess it looks like after b4, it's nice and supported. It's a good square for a knight, but it can just be kicked really easily with this. So Play rook hd1. Yeah, that's definitely the right rook. That's the right rook. Um, so here, d5 is definitely the only move. Otherwise, this move was pointless. Unless you're securing the knight here, there was no point in moving it here. Um, also, you want to develop this bishop, so you're accomplishing two goals at once. Instead, he plays a5, which note is a mistake. It is. Black was winning. Now, it's not so clear. He's just kept his pieces locked up so long, and your pieces are all very well placed. You don't. Literally every one of your pieces is defended. And on top of that, they're defending at least one other piece. I mean, I guess this pawn doesn't count, but these pawns, um, they're they're safe enough as is. Like he doesn't have a light squared, he doesn't have an active light squared bishop, so he can't attack the square anytime soon. So you're very safe. Here, 5 is what you played. To chase the bishop away from a3 and fork. But I don't see what you're. I'm not following entirely. Um. Oh. Okay. Okay. I guess that's all right. Um. Sorry. Like I said, I'm very tired. Hopefully this is actually recording, so this isn't a waste of my time and effort. I think slightly better, maybe. And now he's defending this square. Oh, you want to be able to play a3. Okay. So that's what you wanted to be able to do. Okay. Okay, I get it now. This is actually unnecessary. This is another, it's just like this move, it's not necessary. I think knight c7, e8. No, that doesn't work. I mean, I guess since he clearly doesn't want to play b5, you can go for the perpetual, but that's not going to happen. He's just going to push b5. So this doesn't work. Um, I think this is best. I'm going to go knight a3. Now his knight's out of the game for a while. To chasing the knight again. Then 3. Now you're back to even. You've gotten the initiative you needed, um, and have a good position again. Gotta play knight a7, and now his pieces are just all cramped up again. Now we play a3, and what does black do here? 6, then 6, 8. No, this maybe. Uh, yeah. So you are correct. A5 was a mistake. Or then bishop b8. That was a huge blunder by him, because now if you can kick this rook away, which you can very easily because b3 is playable, you win material with knight here. So you, of course, go ahead and play knight b3, kicking it away. Or I actually would play king b1 first, or king b2 first, because there's no hurry in going for this fork. Um, I don't think. Um, so 5, and now knight b6, rook a6 takes c7. Trying to just activate material, right? And this is just looking better for white again. So very good. That said, your move also good. It might be slightly less precise. So you take. After he plays rook a6, of course. Plays rook c6 check. Play here. Now he has to. Okay. Um, King b2 was a very good move. Applaud you for that. That's. I mean, you only had two options, but actually you only had one option. Never mind. I redact that statement. You made the only logical move, but it's a good move nonetheless. Even if you could play other moves, it's probably still the best move. So, very good. I actually think this is his best line here. So, here this looks pretty equal. Maybe there's an alternative for white. C1. One. F8. Just takes. Yeah. Yeah, I think trading down the material a little bit helps. And you eventually can likely find a way to exploit this still big little corner here. But either way, you're just up a bunch of material. But he did not play accurately, so you didn't have to worry about finding that stuff. Just check. Take the knight. Wonderful. Um, Again, no rook c8. I mean, he can just resign here, but rook c8, king back to b2. Really just g6 because he has nothing else to do. Or threatening this pawn an extra time. Rook c7. It, then you can just slide the rook over here. You could also do that going this way. Um, so you'll just put a lot of pressure down this file, and if he tries something like so that yeah, so you can just force an extra weakness here, is basically what you can do by doing that, and you've protected these pawns firmer and freed up your queen to put more pressure on this side. So, it's a variation. Um, Got a lot about this move. So, what to do after his move? Interested in, you all think the best move was deciding on blocking the knight to trade the bishop and the knight. Black queen moved away from checking over. So, trying to deflect the queen. Okay, reasonable goal. Um, this is the easiest way to do that. But that doesn't work because it leads to getting mated. Um, yeah. Um, you need to deflect the queen, but we also have to deal with the check. Because of your delayed take here, because you took here after winning the exchange, or after winning the material, you didn't have the chance to come back here. Also because he never took back. Um, but that's alright. Sorry, that was really dumb things of me to say for a second on this about this move. So you play knight d6. Seems pretty much the only move, looking at it. You want to deflect the queen somehow. Play knight d6. He takes bishop with the bishop. Um, I would take rook. Takes. I think this is slightly better. Um, because it prevents him from doing anything like any trickery with this. Because 4. Now when he take pinned. So this seemed pretty reasonable for me. King g8. 5. Check. 8. Takes f8. King. Rook takes d7. 4. Check. 2. And this is just a one endgame. So that's how the rook take variation looked. I don't know if you looked at it, or if that's even what you saw when you looked at it. That's my quick few second gist. E takes works just as well. It's not as commanding. It's just not as, it doesn't force anything. Um, this threat along this file is very, very serious. Takes a lot to deal with. He plays queen f6. Again, b5 is better. Um, I mean, better's relative here. It's just gonna give him more active chances. That's alright. Pretty much anything you do here wins as long as you got a plan. So we're on move 20. He played queen f6, rook c1. So he's just gonna be up a rook if he exchanges. He does not. He plays queen b2, a very good move. And you now have mate in 3. Have to. Have to be. Has to be. Has to be. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is no. Whoa. I'm so sorry. You're white. This is mate for black. This is mating for black. So where did you go wrong? That's mating for black, and that's in your game. So allow me to demonstrate. So queen d4 check. 5. Alternatively here, but that loses to this mate. You don't do that, so you have to take up here. c5 check. 4. Takes a2 mate. So your opponent really dropped the ball on that one when he played queen takes a2. So I gotta figure out where you went wrong. Rook c1 is a good idea. It's just the wrong execution because of this powerful check here. Thing to keep in mind. Scid blue. Sorry, I'm trying to add a little graphic. I'm gonna get better at this as time goes on. I'll actually show you guys while I show it. So, this is a pretty common mating pattern to keep in mind. Versus pieces trapping the king in. Um, you can almost always mate when you have this setup with after, well, yeah, obviously that's made if it was black to move, but if it's white to move, here, here, check, then takes here, let's go here and here. That's, sorry, there, now they're drawn. This is a pretty thematic pattern. So like you either have the mate on this side when the pawn is still there, or you can come and mate here. Show that mate too, that possible mate. So the queen can come to there as well. So just something to keep in mind. Easy to miss, especially when you're under time pressure. I don't know if you were, but you said you were nervous a few times throughout your comments. So just something to keep in mind in the future. Alright, so let's get rid of those. We don't need to save that. Let's double question mark this, apply. I haven't been typing much because I've been trying to talk. I should try to, Alright, so I'm gonna go back and look at that. I've got to find the blunder anyway, so I've got to be going backwards. Alright, so queen f6, you still look fine. This still looks fine. Threat is that he's very strong on these dark squares right now. But he doesn't really have any way to get in on the light squares, so I think just this should be sufficient to defend. Because if 6, you just take a5. 5, you just take a5. So his best bet is no, because he can't check there. Guessing. Don't. Yeah, it's my. The only one that gives him a check. Rook a2 check. 4. g6. And here white is just firmly winning. So it's just a matter of how do you convert now. That's why. Off queens and be up a queen in an endgame. So let's go back real quick to we were worried about perpetual check. Oh, okay, Michelle, I get what you're asking now. Yeah, you're correct. You can't really deflect it just because of this diagonal, your king being on it. But you certainly don't have to settle for a draw. Like, there's no reason to give black a draw here. White is so far ahead. It looks very scary, especially if they play something like b5 here. But b5 can be met very easily with queen e3, or check, or takes a2, 5. And now you're on a light square that he has no way to get to. So you're perfectly safe. So now he has to defend the threats against him now, against himself. So let's see what the key threats are. Alright, let's light these ones up. So that's a square that's under defended. These are squares that are needing to be strengthened somehow. Um, Mostly this one. So I'm assuming maybe best try would be h6, but that will just fail to queen g. Bishop takes d, takes d, check, b6, queen f8, back to defending the mate. Um, but yeah, so yeah, black can force a draw or even can win or force a draw if white blunders really hard. But even with just decent play, like decent safe play, you'll win. Yeah, I will go back to the original position. So this is where we started talking about that deflection. Specifically, it was after queen f8, check. Um, Decent move. Still think rook taking was better. So here is pretty much the only move. Play this if you want to give up material for no reason. Actually, you can't even do that because he just mates. Um, yeah, so literally this is the only move. You're forced to hold on to your material. I should stop adding that as a line. Um, so from here, black has a lot of scary looking things going on, but nothing that can actually do anything. Um, b5 doesn't work because once the check comes, you can just move up one square, and the other pawn can't push because it's covered. The bishop takes doesn't work because the rook can just take back the knight. There's no reason to weaken this diagonal along. Let's highlight that diagonal. There's no reason to weaken. There's no reason to weaken the. I'm just gonna this diagonal here. There's no reason to weaken this. I'll click the wrong one. This one to this one, like this diagonal, by taking back with the pawn. So if he takes with the bishop, he does. You just yeah. Sorry, I can't speak English very well apparently. It's been a while since I've slept. Um, so here it is white to move again. Um, Fairly confident that this is still right. So let's see what other tries does black have after here. We've already seen bishop takes. We've already seen this. What about g6? Queen e3. And I don't see anywhere to go. So yeah, just pretty clear stuff. Um, the reason I'm not using an engine too much, I did double check that the exact blunder was um, right here, like that it was this, like this was the only blunder. I did pull up Stockfish on my other monitor real quick to real quick to check that that was in fact the square that it was on, or that was the blunder, and it was. So here we're back to where we were before. So here's where he had the mate in two that I showed you guys, and here he throws away the mate in two. Not only does he throw away the mate in two, he gives white the win back, because after king b5, which is what you played, very good. Oh, you didn't have any comments. Now he finally makes this move that's been seriously needed to get played for a long time. Here you play a fine move. That's perfectly acceptable. It's great. You just wanted to simplify. That was your plan. Another thing to look at is, of course, this F5, 4, check, and you now have mate in 5 or 6, 6, 4. It's like 5, 4 or 6. I'm gonna play it out. I'll see. So he's forced here. Check. King G7. F6 check. King takes F6. 7 check. King F5. Rook here. And King F4. And is that mate? Mate, right? No. Now it's mate. What am I doing? Oh, sorry guys. That was bad. There has to be a faster mate than that. Oh, duh. I went to the wrong side. Um, Alright, yeah, so guys, if you do have games, I will commentate any games you guys give me. The only rule is, you have to give your own analysis of the game. I'd prefer if you tried to follow the way that I had set up, which is basically, what are my threats? What are my weaknesses? What's my plan? And then ask those same questions from your opponent's side, and then make your move. And then when you analyze the move, see if the move you came up with in the post-mortem is the same as the one you played in the game, and if not, figure out what you missed in the game, look at that kind of stuff. If you put those comments up, that really helps make commentating a game a lot easier. So, Rook C2, because obviously I could talk for days about this mate that he missed, but it's not important. He played a winning line that is exactly to the plan that he said he was going to play. He actually even says he wished he had played F5 first, because it's fast mate, but he even notices that the black queen would have been out of the way if he had played it earlier. So he caught it himself even. Um, a win is not a win, guys. Like, not all wins are created equal. If there's something to be learned from the game and you don't learn from it, you're cheating yourself out of a chance to improve. So he takes on here. Um, King just comes up. He's gonna clean up these pawns if he wants to. So Queen D5. So I don't know his plan. I guess he's just trying to find a safe square and mate. So seems reasonable. I would have liked a little. These king moves are a little cryptic and they're not optimal. I'm not gonna go over better lines. Um, I'll comment on the win equals a win thing in a after I'm done with the game. So there's only a few moves left. Just give my personal opinion. You're more than entitled to your own. That's the great thing about life. So King G8, King F7. There's a lot of cryptic king moves going on here. These are definitely the kind of moves you don't have to give real detailed explanation for them. Just like what you thought when you moved the piece. I'm assuming it was time, like you were just trying to play quick, so moving the same piece over and over to get it to an ideal square is something really easy to do really quickly, and especially if it's a winning line, you can do that. But you should really note it, especially if you do hit time trial in the game, always note that in your annotations, because then you'll be less hard on yourself when you miss stuff. So, Queen E4 check, you take a pawn, Queen B7 check, check, and you block, Queen C6 check, and he's out of checks. After, yeah. So he's out of check. Checks, you won on time, doesn't matter, it's mate in 3. Um, so, or 4? 3 or 4. I'm bad at counting, guys. Sorry, so let me double check this. Let me confirm that this is in fact a mate. Black to move, if he goes... The only... Yeah, this is the only move I see that delays mate for more than 3 moves. If he goes a3, which I think is probably the most probable move, trying to promote this pawn. You go queen. You can get a rook too. It doesn't really matter. Queen. Six. Six. And mate. There we go. All right. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. I'll try to write up the comments on the game and post them in an article at some point tomorrow. Way too tired to do today. My analysis wasn't the best, and I apologize for that. I had a 6-hour number theory exam before this, 5.5-hour number theory exam before this, and my brain was pretty fried. But I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. But on to the a win equals a win thing. Yeah, for the score, and if you're in a tournament, a win, it's a win. Your rating goes up, you get the points, and then if you win the tournament, you get the money. But the thing is, when you win a game on here, I'll make a game real quick. I'll make a new game. So when you win a game like and then he goes like this, and you go here, and you win like this, when it's just off of bad play, it's not a real win. You should go back over those games and notice that you made a blunder. You go back, you should be able to see, wait a minute, I hung my pawn and my knight, and lost this game. So yeah, it's just my stance on it. Like everything, I'm just an opinion. But that about does it for today. If anybody has any questions or any games they want me to commentate in the future, I will hopefully be less unintelligible for my future videos. If you do have a game you want to send me, feel free to email me at boskchess@gmail.com. And yeah, sorry, Tricky Knight. You just ended. I will be putting them up on the videos up on my YouTube account, Bosk Chess again. Those should be up in an hour, I would say. Just got to double check the sound quality and a few things. Yeah, if you have any games and you want me to commentate them, all you have to do a brief analysis of the games yourself with what you were thinking for a lot of your moves, so I can get a feel for how you were thinking about the game, because that makes it a lot easier for me to, and I'll get better at this in the future, not drone on about lines that aren't relevant to your plan. So it'll help me focus the analysis on the plans that you came up with and how to make those plans work. Because chess is a very dynamic game. You can make just about any plan work if it's well thought out and in line with the position. So yeah, send me an email, or on Reddit you can PM me, Bosk on Segway 1 there, and chess.com. I am also Bosk Chess. That's BOSSK Chess. Yeah. Peace, guys. Have a good night.